Hello everyone, welcome back. This is going to be part 10 of my iPad Go 2 breakdown series. This one is going to cover the year of the dog, year 2030 and beyond. Just know all my parts kind of build upon each other, so go back and check out my previous parts, which cover all the years from 2023 all the way till now. I just want to cover again at the start of each one what I think the big revelation is that each one of these heads in the scene represents a year or Chinese New Year. And as we progress through from 2023 onwards, all the events after this classroom scene show what's going to happen in sequence. So in my last part, I covered the year 2029 with Revelations, seal number 6, okay, opening. And now I think that we're transitioning into this last thing in the classroom, which is the trumpet lily. So Revelations trumpets, okay? So let's get into this this year. This human spirit, again, I just want to state that this is used by Heliophon, I think, to transition into each year. So every time you see this character, imagine it as a cutscene into the next calendar or Chinese New Year. So I do want to make a correction from my previous part. I should probably go and correct it and re-put out that part, but I'm probably just going to leave this here. In the previous part, I thought that Seal 7 was opened. Now I don't think that Seal 7 has been opened yet. So instead, in 2029, I think the following scenes, the following slides are just Revelation 6, 12 through 17. Okay, so I kind of jumped ahead. So if we go back to 2029, this scene here where the human spirit character is exiting this cave sort of looking thing, I don't think this is a cutscene, okay, as I stated before. I think it's a continuation of 2029. And I just think all this building collapsing is just the continuation of 6:15 through 17, okay? So just, and the kings of the earth and the great men, basically everybody hid themselves in the dens in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the rocks and mountains, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne. Okay, so I just think that this is a continuation of them requesting that these mountains collapse in around them. And then after that scene, still in 2029, we see Shiva returning, which I just think is more fire and continuing of the dance, and I think just finishes off seal number 6, okay, Revelation 16 and 17, for the great day of his wrath has come, who shall be able to stand it? Okay, so now we move into the transition into the year 2030. So 2030 is the year of the dog, Chinese New Year starting on February 2nd and ending on January 23rd, 2031. So this is very critical here. This is not right, okay? So after 2029, we get this important cutscene of where we see the human spirit coming up through this ensemble of people and then basically blowing them away. So before I get into 2030, I want to cover this specific cutscene. So where are we? I think in Book of Revelations, as I've said before, at the end of 2029, we've opened the 6th seal. So now we're at chapter 7 Revelations, which is the 144,000 sealed. I took an actual scene of this, okay? I actually took a print screen and I counted the number of people, okay? And it's a 15 by 12 grouping. So if you do 15 times 12, it's 180 people per group. And just so happens that 144,000 is divisible by 180. So could there be 800 groups here? Is this basically the 144,000 that need to be sealed before the 7th seal can be opened? Okay. There's also no wind or anything that seems to be disturbing these characters. And if we read chapter 7, and after these things I saw the 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. Okay. So this cutscene, again, he comes up and then he blows everything away. So I think this scene not only shows us the 144,000 sealed, which is chapter 7, but this is also the opening of the 7th seal in chapter 8. So in chapter 8 it says, "And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in the heaven for the space of half an hour. And I saw the seven angels which stood before God, and into them were given the seven trumpets. Before the seven trumpets are blown, though, listen to this, and another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand, and the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth, and there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake." I think that this is showing this scene where he comes up, his heart's on fire, right, from the censer, okay? And then he blows everybody away with this earthquake, thunderings, lightnings, and an earthquake. So time frame wise, because this is a cutscene, expect this seventh seal to open around February 2nd of 2030, okay, which is basically the changeover date for the year of the dog. Now moving into 2030, let's look at the eclipses. As again, Hierophant uses eclipses to signify the passing of time so we can know where we are. So in 2030, we have these ones here. So let's see if we can kind of find those in our scenes. So in 2030, here are the scenes. We have the kid, or the TV leaving the kid. Then we have the skeleton acting like a conductor. Then we have the child leaving the broken mosque. Okay, this big scene here with everything in the background. Then we move into the dancer doing his dancing scene with all the masks, into where he sees something in the sky and is illuminated. So as I do in every one, let's take each part down. So this part where the TV slithers away and the child gets up, I don't really understand. I think it's just that the powers that be are leaving everyone alone. I don't really see anything here happening in terms of the trumpets or anything starting. Okay, so I think we're still just after the seventh seal, waiting for the trumpets to begin. Now this is funny. I like this scene with the skeleton acting like a conductor, like a maestro. Okay, he's basically conducting the trumpet section to get them to start blowing. Okay, so I think that this is obviously Revelations 2 here, and I saw the seven angels which stood before God, and they were given seven trumpets. Okay, and chapter 8:6, and the seven angels which had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound. So I think that that's what the skeleton here is doing, is he's preparing the band to begin playing. So now we get into trumpets. So trumpet 1 and 2, I have a hard time breaking these apart here, but I think that they're both shown in this scene. Hail and fire mingled with blood will rain down. So I believe that this child, as we know, has been bloodied in the previous scene. Is he going to rain down hail and fire mixed with blood? Okay. And then we see this scene in the background where everything seems kind of flooded. Okay. And we see the moon reflected going behind here. Now, there is going to be a partial blood moon on June 15th. So my question here, are they trying to signify that this third is going to be blood of the moon? So these seas, a third of them has become blood. If I read Revelations 8:6 through 7, and the seven angels which had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and a third of the part of the trees were burnt up, and all the grass was green. All the green grass was burnt up. So we see no grass in this scene. Okay, everything looks very dull, no trees. And the second angel sounded, and it was a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. So this moon lunar eclipse, a third of it is blood. Is that what they're trying to signify here, is the moon is being cast into the sea? Okay. And I think this first eclipse here is shown possibly by the dancing whirling dervish, okay, signifying the solar eclipse of June 1st. So expect this first and second trumpet, I think, to happen around, like I said, the time frame of June 15th. June 1st, June 15th of 2030. Then we move into this scene with the dancer, and the first thing we see is this fire covering the star. So is this the third trumpet, the Star of Wormwood? As immediately after we see the star, he does his dance where there is waves underneath, okay, and he turns into a bear, as we know, okay. So if we read Revelations, this is 8, 10, and 11, and the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood, and a third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Okay, so I think this is clearly showing this third trumpet with the star burning like a lamp. Okay, part 3. This is continuation of the dance scene. This whole scene is actually looking like it's converted to darkness or dimness. We can see it's very dark in this scene. So is this the fourth trumpet? And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so that as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And then I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. So I think this eagle, or flying, is representing this continuation here. Okay, the darkness, and then this is trying to show us that this is the fourth trumpet being sounded. I'm going fast just because I only have 15 minutes per video. I might come back to this. So part 4, this is trumpet 5. Then we see this bright flash as the dancer looks up to the sky. So is this, and the next scene we see is the Anubis boat leaving the birth canal. So are we jumping into Revelations 9, 1 and 2 here? And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit, and he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. So is this the birthing where the bottomless pit is being opened? And this is the star, obviously, that he's seeing falling to earth. Then as he emerges, we see the building collapsing. This looks like a birth canal or a bottomless pit, okay? And the angel of the bottomless pit was called Apollyon. So is this Apollyon that is coming out, right? We've always seen him looking sort of like a sun, like the image of the sun. So is this going to be the angel of the bottomless pit that emerges? I want to read this, but I will come back to this as I don't have enough time to finish the other two. So we see this scene. We can clearly see the pyramids and the scorpion, okay, the scorpion tail. So as we know, trumpets 5, the bottomless pit opens up, and these creatures are able to harm people and torment people. So with the scorpion tail. Then we see the pyramids here. So this is indicating Egypt. Trumpet number 6 is the angels opening up the river Euphrates to flood. And look, we have this flooding scene right beside the pyramids, okay, the river Euphrates in Egypt. And trumpet number 7, okay, we see the scorpion tail again, like I said, is the bottomless pit, the ones that torture. And then we see this big hailstorm where we see these big chunks hitting the pyramid and breaking it. So I'm not sure, but I think, and there were lightnings, this is the 7th trumpet, and there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail, okay? I think this is where the iPet Go-To stops. I don't think there's anything kind of beyond this, and it's up to interpretation, I think, beyond. I want to come back to the scene, as I think I can explain more on this particular scene with, I think it's giving more indication of what will, happen, but thanks for listening.